Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for Survivor on AFTERBUZZ TV. We got a lot of crazy stuff to talk about tonight. We can't wait to dive into it. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, welcome to Survivor, or should I say the Debbie Show. That's where we're at tonight. We saw a lot of crazy stuff from our favorite lady tonight, and we're gonna definitely get into this. We're so excited to have you guys here tonight for Survivor. This episode's called Dirty Deed. There were definitely some of those going on. I'm your host, Paige Bonanno. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Paige Bonanno, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-hosts tonight, who are...
Domonique Price.
Where can they find you, Dom?
Oh.
You can't. She doesn't have
At Domonique P_ESQ.
My name is Michael Rippe. You can catch me on social media at Mike Rips.
You guys didn't really think my Debbie Show comment was that funny. I was pretty psyched about it, and nobody really responded. So I hope our viewers in the live chat thought that my comment was funny, because it was a Debbie Show tonight.
It was the Debbie Downer Show.
It was the Debbie Downer Show for sure. Anyways, thanks again for joining us, guys. Make sure to comment in our live chat. We love hearing all of your thoughts. And
shout out to _artist Josh Rodriguez on the 1s and 2s with the live chat.
The what?
Josh.
The live chat. There he is, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So, overall, thoughts of the episode tonight. Does anybody have anything crazy or any crazy thoughts that they want to share before we dive into the breakdown?
I think everyone watching would agree that Debbie is delusional.
She's honestly a psychotic person. I'm so done with Debbie. Before, I was kind of on the fence with her. I never didn't like her, or I never liked her.
I just want to go on record that if anyone paid attention to last season, I cannot stand Debbie with a passion. I don't know why they brought her back. I think she's crazy. I think she found something on the island to smoke, and I'm just not here for it. Well, what did Culpepper do exactly to her? Because she started flipping out, and she was like, "You are a dictator, and you made me." Did anybody else hear her volunteer?
Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, we'll definitely get into it. Yes. We'll definitely get into this as we go along. But like I was saying, I never thought that she was anybody that really I cared about. I didn't think she was that psycho until tonight, and we'll definitely get into how.
I think I have a sense for the crazies.
Oh my God. Right at the beginning of the episode, we don't have to touch on this too long because we weren't obviously here last week, and we totally we all watched the episode later, and we totally it was crazy last week, and we saw at the beginning of the episode was just all the way from the beginning when it started to reward was just constant talking about what happened last week. Everyone was still reeling from it. It was that big of a deal. Did you guys, since we weren't here last week, just want to comment on what happened with the whole Malcolm, Sandra, JT situation?
I thought it was one of the best tribals that I've seen in a long time.
I mean, there was definitely a game changer type of tribal that was wild and surprised Jeff and everyone, and someone was going to lose, and it just happened to be Malcolm, which is unfortunate.
I just feel really bad for him, and he was the strongest player, and it just kind of sucks. But we won't spend too much time on it since you guys already saw it.
I mean, it was obviously shocking. Everyone's surprised, but what are you going to do?
I don't know. I feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, this season is the season of game changers, and I love that Survivor is pulling out all of the stops to just revamp it and to make it interesting to a bunch of characters that have played already and have played in some of the craziest seasons out here. So I'm excited to see what Survivor continues to do to make this truly game changing.
Definitely, for sure. So just getting off right at the foot, obviously we talked about that for a long time, and then it went into reward right away. They were playing for PB&J and cookies and milk, which, it'd be good. Cookies and milk is great, but I don't think it's something that you need to freak out and go psycho over. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. Obviously, okay, first I wanted to say Troyzan was sitting out for Tavua again. So, last episode, he sat out because he kind of, made the mistake in the previous tribal, or in the previous reward or immunity before that. He sat out again, and he sat out for a third time. So I'm just kind of a little bit, what do you guys think about this? Do you think they're punishing him for how bad he did that one time, or you think they're just he's whatever, I'm not playing?
Just don't know that he was going to contribute.
3 times though in a row he's sitting out. 3 times in a row. That's not weird to anybody else?
It's a little weird, but I think that he's okay with it.
Sandra has set out the last 3 times too. I think they just look to see what player is probably the least likely to actually contribute.
I think they all have their certain roles on Tavua. It's been working, and so he's sitting out. I mean, it is a little bit... I would want him to not want to sit out so easily, but he's okay with it. He's got an idol, so he's comfortable with what's going on. He feels like he's just cruising through the start.
I don't know. I don't like it. But anyways, so the whole mothership of this entire episode, like we talked about, was Debbie. So in this reward, Mana loses clearly, and Debbie before the challenge, they were like, hey, or Debbie goes, I'm really good at balance, just so you guys know, I'm really good at balance. And Culpepper's like, okay, great. Yeah, Debbie, like, go ahead and balance then. And then she couldn't obviously get over the hurdles. She couldn't walk and balance everything. And then at the end, we see she's so uppity still, and then freaks out at Brad Culpepper. I mean, what the hell's going on here?
This was one of those situations where I was like, is there something that happened that we didn't get a chance to see because the way she blew up, it just didn't make sense. I don't want to,
They did a replay of her saying it.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. I think Debbie gives a new definition to the Debbie Downer. It just was really freaky how then she kind of flipped out on Ty a little bit when he asked her what was wrong. She flipped out on Haley. Because apparently Haley's a princess and gets everything she wants.
And Debbie's a ghoul.
Haley was the one that was going home just a week ago, so I don't understand. I just didn't see. Did you see it? I don't understand.
Debbie, I think there's certain points where we saw her in her past season that she's a little bit out of control when she gets super competitive and it doesn't go her way, and she starts acting like she thinks she can do everything the best, and that's just her personality. But I think she also recognizes when she's not in control, that if she stirs it up, maybe it will help to her advantage. And so that's kind of what she's doing there, even though it's a little delusional.
I mean, her freaking out on people like this, she doesn't think that this is going to work against her? Or put a fucking target, put a target on her back? Excuse me.
I think at the end of the day that she feels like right now the target's on her. And so at least if it's on her, she can at least fight. And at least she's going to go down as a fighter, which she says.
Yeah,
so I think that's what happens. I mean, she says she can balance, she can't balance.
But
moving on.
Okay, she can't balance. Great, whatever. She can't balance. But where did the whole thing stem from where she says that he has no respect for her? I'm missing something here.
So is she.
I don't think you're missing anything.
She's missing something. It's very simple.
I think Debbie needed someone to be pissed off at because she effed up that challenge.
She doesn't think she effed up the challenge, though.
But she was saying that Haley, she's like, hey, I was on this thing for a second and Haley took 10 minutes, so I'm just going to say that.
Okay, but you can't argue with people that are not seeing it the way it is. That's it. Why are you getting so frustrated about her being crazy?
Because I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
You're more frustrated than Debbie is now.
I don't know about that.
Obviously,
I couldn't agree with you more.
She's trying to create drama so that it helps her.
Okay, I'm not like, great, Debbie can act the way that she wants to act. I don't know. I just think this puts a target on her back, and I just don't really understand it because...
It probably does put a target on her back, but she feels like her target is already on her back.
But also, everybody was being so nice to her, and nobody even cared about the fact that she was literally going psycho on them. Like, that's not a weird thing?
I think we will all agree that Debbie is on something or not on something. Either way it goes.
I just don't think that we're spending a lot of time talking about something.
This is literally what happened in the episode tonight.
No, because
tonight's episode, we could talk about how Sierra was doing a great job in the challenge. We could talk about how Ty was, Andrew was, Cerise struggled during it. Debbie struggled, and then she got frustrated about her struggles. But Tavua won that challenge, and we're not talking about them winning. It's like, why are we spending so much time on Debbie struggling in the challenge?
Oh.
Well, guide us to the next topic.
No, let's talk about Tavua winning and how they're performing.
Okay.
And Nuku also.
Sure, yeah.
What did you guys think about that? I mean, why are we talking
Well, I was going to get into the immunity challenge, but
No, reward challenge. We're starting there.
We already went through reward.
No.
Yeah.
We're on it right now.
Okay, what else do we need to talk about on reward?
So Debbie's pissed about she can't balance, right? But what about the rest of the people in the challenge? This is my point. Why we don't need to focus on all of Debbie.
Okay, yeah. So let's go on the other people.
Because let's talk about the winners. That's what my point is. It's like, I get it. Debbie's crazy. She's delusional. But let's talk about who's winning the challenges and deserving of the time that we talk about him. Like, do you guys like getting PB&J and cookies and milk?
I don't think it's that big of a deal to
legit
me.
My favorite meal, so I would have went hard trying to win this challenge. Like, hands down, this would have been my challenge to win. I would have bum rushed over anybody to win this doggone peanut butter and jelly. So
Okay.
I loved how everybody came out here. They were super serious about winning this challenge.
Of course.
I'm seeing a whole new, what's her name, Cherie?
Suri.
Sorry.
No, the
Sierra.
tall blonde?
Sierra.
Sierra.
Uh-huh.
Okay. When the season first started, I was really kind of like, okay, who are the two blondes? Like, I didn't remember their seasons, but something in the last like 2 weeks, I feel like she's really kind of stepping out. I loved how they kind of are saying like she's the top female in their tribe, which I didn't see it at first, and now I'm just kind of like, wow, I really think she could be a huge contender in this game.
Mm-hmm.
She's
She's dominating,
tonight
yeah. And
in
then
the
when she
episode,
did
for
the
sure.
I can't remember which challenge it was, if it was immunity or the reward, but when they were doing the slingshot, she killed it.
Yeah.
She was good. Well, here's the thing. If you get PB&J and you're out there and you don't have the milk to go along with it, it's gonna be all
that's
stuck
like
in the roof of
giving
your
a
mouth.
dog peanut butter.
Like, is that really that great? It's gonna make you really thirsty.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
If you had a choice between having just cookies and milk or PB&J, what would you choose?
Yeah.
Which one?
Okay.
And you guys out there, would you rather win PB&J or cookies and milk if you had to choose? I would go for cookies and milk. That's me.
I don't know. I would
What would
probably
you do?
go
because
for.
it's really hard for me to eat a PB&J without milk.
I don't know.
could
I
have
don't think it's that
cookies-
big of a deal.
I could have
See, I don't
cookies
think
with
that. See, that's how I am. I don't think that the PB&J is that big of a deal.
That's what I
I'd
wanna
rather
know.
talk
So you
about
want-
Debbie than talking about PB&J. Like, this means nothing to me.
I don't want to talk about Debbie. We're gonna move.
Well, we still
past-
got a lot to talk about with
Okay.
Debbie. That's the point. We're only on reward.
All right. So what else was the sticking out point of reward for you guys and for you in the live chat? Tell us what was the best part of reward.
They hated both.
Did you have a favorite part in reward today?
I just told you the peanut butter.
Oh, that was yours. I thought you said that was a live chat.
No, they said somebody said neither. Eric said cookies and milk. Thomas said PB&J.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people going either way. But I think at the end of the day, what I'm loving is how some of the tribes are really starting to like mesh and work a little bit well together. I really, really liked, even though they lost, you guys know I'm super bad with the tribal names, but the blue team with Sandra, Michaela,
Nuku.
thank you. I thought it was really interesting that coming back from such a very interesting tribal, they still worked well together in the challenges. And I thought that was really interesting, where on the other hand, you have the tribe with Ty, Debbie, Culpepper, and they had such that turmoil going into the challenge and rocked it.
Yeah.
Like she did you guys notice like she was still yelling at Culpepper as the challenge was going on, and they still won.
Oh, yeah.
Super competitive.
Like I loved that they really kind of were like able to zone out in a way that they were we don't hear you.
They only won because of Brad.
Are you talking about immunity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But could you imagine like somebody yelling in your ear, but you're still like killing
Sometimes
it?
that like leads you on. I mean, like, if you look at the Golden State Warriors, that's what Draymond Green does to their
Woohoo!
team.
Yes,
But, you know,
the
I mean,
basketball reference.
It's interesting how they all are getting along. I think Tavua is a strong tribe. I like Tavua a lot.
Tavua is definitely a strong
They've got
tribe.
a good group of people.
Tavua's green.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tavua is great. They've been definitely winning a lot. They were the ones that won immunity today.
Right after reward, though, is where we start to find out more. They have moments with the tribes. So Mana tribe, with Debbie bugging out, and kind of with Ty, I thought it was funny that Ty this episode had a lot of good quotes.
Lots of good quotes.
He said he got scared. He thinks she's a crazy lady. Like, that's funny to
No,
me.
the best part was he said, I think Debbie is mad.
I think Debbie's really upset. It's funny because it was so obvious.
So obvious. Ty, also speaking of him, is totally the idol master. How many
Yes.
idols has he found in the game of Survivor? Does anybody know? I'm gonna say 3 or 4.
And he's immediately
Maybe
out,
more.
I mean, he's not
He's
as good
imme-
as David was.
He's immediately out looking for another idol.
Immediately out looking for another idol, and
But he said
gets
because,
it.
but
Well,
this is what I love the most, you guys. Like someone who's like an entrepreneur and like works for themselves. I loved how Ty was sitting there. He was like, I just want to feel productive.
well, Ty actually doesn't have the idol yet, correct? He found the clue.
Found the clue,
Finds
and
the clue.
and it was a very like riddly clue that
Right.
he needed to find a board, and then he needed to put it under some water and then it would appear.
Like the team emblem appears and then he has to dig underneath that. But he was like, you know what, I'm gone too long. I'm not really going to.
One thing
So
at a
he's
time.
saving that. It'll be interesting to see if he actually comes back to that in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Also, before we get into immunity, another thing happening at camp with Nuku is basically the whole Sugargate of 2017. Michaela asked for some drip coffee and they give it to her, and also for a thing of sugar. And the reason this is important is because the only two people that eat sugar on the camp is JT and Michaela. So it has to be one or the other that's taking the rest of it. Sandra goes to get the rest of the sugar just to put Michaela under the bus, just to shake things up, add fuel to the fire, because she already knows that JT isn't a fan of Michaela. Mm-hmm. But my question about this is, like, Varner's standing right there listening to the whole thing, and like he never says anything to anybody else that Sandra's actually the one doing this, which, I mean, I don't think he would, because he knows that Sandra would freak out and everybody listens to Sandra, but it's just kind of funny the whole way that this went down.
Well, Sandra's playing it like the way she is always playing it, the way that she talks and stirs it up, kind of on the side. She's stirring it up, and she's doing a great job of the stirring it up. Mm-hmm. Because basically JT blames Michaela. Michaela's, wants to kill JT, except she's talking about holding it in finally.
Michaela's talking about killing JT.
Yeah. So they're frustrated with each other, and of course, somehow, it's all with Sandra behind it all.
Well, the thing is, like, JT is so adamant about getting Michaela out because he really just does not like her attitude. And
I said this when we were watching it, and it really, like, got under my skin, and I had a hard time with JT being so adamant about Michaela's attitude when Sandra's low-key a bully. Like, I don't understand how he would say Michaela, like, needs to hurry up and get out when last week you were really trying to blindside Sandra. So I just was like, what has she really done to you? And so then I thought it was interesting that, what's her face agreed?
Aubrey.
And she was like, I mean, I think she's a really independent, strong woman, but I understand her, like, she really does have an attitude. And I was like,
she didn't say attitude.
She didn't say attitude, but she did agree with JT.
She said that basically what's going on inside the tribe it's not copacetic with everyone. That there is an issue with the way the living situation, I think that's what she actually termed it, like the living situation is compromised or uncomfortable. So I thought the way that Aubrey actually phrased it was an interesting way to phrase it, because I actually thought she was, she was being genuine, but she was also just, telling you this is kind of like a thing happening. Yeah. Something has to change. Something is going to change.
She was saying their quality of life inside the camp is just not up to par, basically.
Yeah.
And Aubrey also said that she's tried very, very hard with Michaela. So she says that she likes her, but I don't know if we just haven't seen anything, but it seems like Aubrey's really tried to, like, be her friend and be her ally, and Michaela's just not really having it. And
I think Michaela's probably a little bit...
I don't know that Michaela's not having it.
I think Michaela, it seems like, is probably very worried about everyone's view of her, because she's quick to react to things. And so she's worried, like, they're plotting against her, really. That's why she's so adamant about trying to, like, keep it in and not letting things out, I feel like.
Michaela?
Well, and I think that's also because in the very first episode, when she did kind of have that moment of anger, everyone was like, let's get Michaela out. And because of, like, there was a little bit of... when she flipped out because they threw her name out there even though they weren't going to vote for her, and I think that was a rightful moment for her to be a little bit frustrated, and I think that put in everybody's mind that she has, like, a huge, like, attitude problem. So she's been trying, and so I commend her for trying to, like, not speak up for herself when stuff does happen, because she is afraid of how she's going to be viewed.
I mean, I don't think even when that did happen, when quote unquote, how people are saying she freaked out when they went to go write down her name and they weren't really going to. I don't think Michaela really freaked out. Like, she was just like, she was like, whoa, 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 like, we're not doing this. I feel like if that was anybody else that would have reacted the way that she would have reacted, it wouldn't have caused such a stir. But it's the fact that people see Michaela as a player that has an attitude problem, so they already are they're preconditioned to thinking that that's who she is. So it's like, oh, well, she's freaking out, and all she said was, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't think she really yelled at anybody like Debbie's doing. She's not getting on anybody's bad side. She's just saying, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, which I don't think anybody would be comfortable with if you're writing down their name.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Well, yeah, you're like Michaela's advocate for sure.
I said that from jump, and that's why I try to ask you guys your guys' opinions about it. And I asked when we watched this all together, you guys, and I asked them, I was like, okay, you guys tell me if I'm wrong. Do you guys see Michaela as having an attitude? And you quickly was like, yes. And I was like, okay, I don't see it. So maybe I'm just blinded because I see a lot of similarities within myself and Michaela. So I'm like, okay, I get it. But if you guys think she has the attitude,
I think
let's
that
move on.
like in situations like that, like she definitely is just seen that way sometimes. But I also do personally think that she has an attitude. What's in here? I definitely do think that she does have an attitude at the wrong time sometimes. But I do think maybe she's getting a little better. What is it? I can't do this right now. There's something.
You got it.
Well, speaking of Michaela, she had an interesting performance today in the immunity challenge.
It.
She only had 3 bags. There's 100 bags, and she only had 3 bags. They called her out for the 3 bags. If you remember in past seasons, she was the 8th strongest woman in the world. I don't know why she picked up 3 bags. If anybody out there has an idea why she would have only taken 3 bags, I would like to know.
Varner gets on her like, hey, get back there. Take more bags than this.
Yeah, of course.
And
3 bags?
Yeah. It doesn't really make sense.
So that was interesting.
There were 100 bags in there?
Yeah, that was intense.
Oh
I don't know why
gosh.
she took so little either. I don't know if it was like trying to see...
Just see what you can do.
See what you can do first. Like, I don't know. It just didn't make sense.
I just found that to be a little interesting.
It was weird.
Was there any other people that stood out in immunity that really did the best job to you guys? Let us know in the live chat too.
I
Who's
think
your favorite?
Haley really stepped up this episode. I didn't really think that she was going to bring anything like challenge-wise, and I thought she did a really, really good job with the balance beam. And unless there was a time lapse, I don't know how Debbie thought it took her 10 minutes to get over because it seemed like it was really fast.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I mean, I thought that Brad was amazing.
Yeah.
I think he's in a great position right now. He's one of the strongest competitors left, if not the strongest. And, yeah, I mean, there's some issues that Debbie's having with him, but I think he's a strong competitor right now. He's got a Syracuse hat on too, but he's playing really well, and he was the reason they won that immunity challenge.
Yeah, and he's also just I mean, from what I've seen, I guess he's just a very like nice guy. Like Debbie's yelling at him in the middle of the challenge. He's like, Debbie, I love you. I don't know why you're mad at me.
It doesn't seem like he's doing stuff that should cause Debbie to be set off the way she is. So I think it's more on her. I mean, she also talked about her 8-pack. Don't forget that. That's my point. Is I think she's just clearly a delusional person.
Well, she just needs to do push-ups if she's upset. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, but I'm impressed with Brad a lot.
Yeah.
He's
and I'm definitely impressed with Sierra too.
Sierra's
especially
strong.
After last episode, knowing that she was going to get voted off. She still comes back super strong this week. Didn't miss a beat, and she really helped them with shooting those bags.
And amazingly, Sandra is just in a perfect position.
How the heck?
Sandra is just like...
How does Sandra stay in the spot that she's in and nobody sees... They all say that they see her as a threat, but they don't do anything about it, and I just can't wrap my head around it.
I'll tell you what, if I was in the game with her, which is never going to happen, but I would think that the first thing that I was going to do was, it's either me going home or her. Like, I'm going to try to rally everyone to get rid of the person that's won 2 times and now is in our tribe. Like, it doesn't matter. Let's get rid of her, and then let's figure it out from there.
And she knows how good she is, and she still continues to manipulate people every single day, and nobody catches it. Nobody cares. Like, that's just my question.
To me, what is really interesting, and I would love to hear from you guys in the live chat. For me, I think it's really interesting the way that Sandra talks to people. I think that it's a little... like everyone's beneath her almost.
I think she's talking to the people the way they want to hear it because they are all on board with whatever she says.
Well, and the thing is I think that she does change her tone and her attitude a lot based on who she's talking to.
She knows how to play the people. Yeah. She's like a great psychologist.
When Michaela was going over with the bags and she's falling off, she's like, hey, baby, like, don't worry about it. She's very soft, very calming. But then when they're going to kill the goat, it's like totally off the wall.
And then at Tribal. When they asked her about JT, she's like very calm, doesn't give him any inclination that maybe she's against him. Like, she plays everything in the right moment. She knows exactly how to create chaos or control the chaos.
Yeah. Speaking of, with Tribal, I mean, the deciding factor totally went to Varner. It was 100% him, but JT thought 100% that Sandra was voting with him. And like you said, at Tribal, she and Michaela played this to the T. They were actresses, and they were damn good at it.
Here's what I would say, though, is that I give way more credit to Sandra here because I don't think Michaela was really playing much. Because Michaela, I think from her opinion, thought she knew it was going to be close. She had a shot, but I think she thought she's possibly going home too. Like she's not in on that. Like she doesn't know for sure what Varner's doing.
No. I disagree completely. Here's my thought on this. I think from the original, because they showed us the conversation where Varner, Michaela, and Sandra have a conversation, and they're like, I want to go after JT. Of course, Sandra doesn't tell Michaela about the plan to kind of ruffle JT's feathers as far as the sugar, but I feel like Michaela was very much in the know of what was happening. Now let's not all forget, had Michaela not have been in the know of what was getting ready to happen, we all know that she would not have responded the way she did during Tribal. I feel like from Michaela's attitude, she would have put up way more of a fight the way JT kind of was coming at her. I think she was very kind of poised, like, I know.
That's Michaela's personality, is her being like, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
No, yeah, that she could be like that too, but I'm saying Sandra was the one that did that. It came down to one vote, Varner. He could have went either way. Like,
no, I'm not disagreeing you that whole motion was put in place by Sandra. I'm just saying that you're saying, like...
I don't think Michaela was sure she wasn't going home. I think she went to that Tribal knowing she had a chance to not go home, not saying she thought she was definitely going home, but that it could easily have just been one vote.
All I'm saying is that I don't think Michaela went into that Tribal not knowing that Sandra had her back. Is all I'm saying.
Oh, no, Sandra had her back. I agree with that, but I don't know if she knew it, Jeff.
With somebody in the game like Sandra says that they got your back and every single vote has gone her way, I'm going into there a little bit more confident had I not have had her stamp of approval.
Yeah, I mean...
Literally, every single vote that they've gone to Tribal has been her pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sandra probably told her ahead of time, like, hey, I'm going to play this up a little bit, so just go along with me. But obviously not the extent of it.
Agreed, but
I mean, why else would he have been so comfortable to leave his
community idol?
I think that's completely separate. I think that just shows you that JT is really, really silly, and I don't want to use anything to I mean, really, he was dumb. He should have brought his idol. He was way overconfident. He screwed over Malcolm the week before.
Confident.
And that overconfidence, which he even speaks about, he let his guard down and he got taken out. You should never let your guard down. He got himself burnt, and that's what happened there.
But I think even if he would have brought his idol to Tribal, I don't think he would have played it regardless. Either way, he was going home with an idol. Here's the thing: bringing
your idol to Tribal, leaving it at home makes no difference. You either play the idol or you don't. And he didn't play it, and so forever he'll never be able to look back at this moment and be like, "Man, I really messed that up," because he messed it up completely. Not only did he mess it up for himself, he screwed over Malcolm.
I mean, it's easy for us right now to say that you would have played the idol, but I'm asking in the live chat. If you, not knowing what you know now, would you also have played the idol? Because Sandra's, I mean, she's really good at convincing. Like, I'm sure she and Varner both convinced him.
I agree, Thomas, 1,000%. I think Varner made the best decision and the right move for this at this point in the game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you obviously don't want to play the idol and then not have any votes against you because you're like, shit, I could have used that later on. But it's always like, if it's even close at all, I would just play it. And you always have the chance to find another. I mean, if you're tied. But I don't know. I mean, it was a setup, and it was a blindside for him, and I think they did a great job at it.
I think given what happened with the Malcolm situation, because I'm totally putting that on JT, I think it was the best serve of karma that could have absolutely happened. But
yeah, I mean, JT got what he deserved after last week.
It seems like in the live chat, most people are saying that they would have played it. You always play the idol in a situation like that, if there was any type of chance to go home. So.
I mean, the worst thing to do ever is to go home with your idol.
With your idol in your pocket.
Right. Oh, I'd rather play it too soon than not play it at all.
Of course.
That's bad.
At least play it and get yourself to the next week. At least go out without an idol. If you go out with an idol, that's embarrassing.
Like I said before, I feel bad for JT in the sense, not that he didn't do anything wrong, because I think he totally effed up last week and this week. I just feel bad for him as a person, that he's going to be looking back on this forever. Like, for me, I would be very disappointed in myself and very sad that I messed up this chance. And I just feel bad from the sense that he's going to think about this for a long time.
He knew right away.
T-Power said it great. Never trust Sandra.
Ever. He knew it right.
Thank you.
He knew it right away.
You just were trying to get her out last week.
He knew it right away when he didn't. When he was talking to the camera, he said, "Man, I messed this up." He knew it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
It's very, very interesting, but I think that the last few episodes have been so good. I'm so freaking excited for next week, because it just seems like they're getting ready to turn the game on its head all over again. I wanted to ask your guys' opinion. They hinted a little bit to Exile Island, and the last time I remember Survivor doing an Exile Island, there actually was a chance for someone to play everyone who was on Exile Island to get back into the game. So they kind of alluded that somebody's going to come back into the game. So do you guys have any predictions of who it might be
to come back into the game?
You think it's from the season?
I'm speculating that it could be someone
I honestly think it's not from this season.
I think so too.
Hard.
I was gonna say it could maybe
be
two
separate situations. I think whoever's coming back, like whoever's coming, is someone like random, and then Exile Island is gonna be its own beast all in itself.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot that's
maybe it could be like the winner from last season.
There's a lot that's happening.
Maybe it could be like the winner from last season to be like,
bum bum bum.
Yeah. Hey, I was the most recent one to play the game, and this is
Adam?
I don't know. You know. Yeah.
Adam?
Yeah, maybe Adam will come back. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's definitely gonna be interesting. Are there any other predictions, or is that
Boston Rob? I like that, Eric. I just want to say shout out to Eric and the people that have been sending me messages on Twitter. I got your back.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of our episode tonight. That's Survivor, Dirty Deed. And next week's going to be crazy. We're super excited. Thanks for joining us. And thank you to everybody in the live chat. You know, you guys are the best, and we love the conversation. Anybody else that's watching, too, make sure to jump in the live chat.
Oh, Steven Interesting said nobody returns.
Nobody returns. Well, we'll see if anybody returns next week. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, guys. I'm your host, Paige Bonanno. You can follow me all over social media at Paige Bonanno. Thanks so much for joining. And where can they find you guys?
Hey, and if anybody wants to see any more of my biased opinions, you guys can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at DomoniqueP_ESQ. Love you guys.
The shade is real. My name is Mike Rippe. You can catch me on social media at Mike Rippe, and I will see you next time.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.